My name is Zoe Torr. I'm a pilot reporter, and for decades I worked in Los Angeles and lived in Pacific Palisades. It's my hometown. And along with so many others, the three homes I lived in during my years in Pacific Palisades raising a family are all gone, burned to the ground. I was in San Francisco the day of the fire, and once we heard by about 11:15, 11:20 in the morning that this fire was out of control, I headed down to from San Francisco down to the Pacific Palisades area. I brought along an IMAX qualified cinema camera, and I wanted to document the end of what I believe to be one of the finest neighborhoods in the world. This was the very first shot I photographed just about midnight. And what you're looking at this is from Sunset and Amalfi, looking across the golf course. And you can see homes fully engulfed in flames, burning and being fanned by much higher winds. We had winds in excess of 100 miles an hour gusting through Pacific Palisades. Much of it wasn't recorded because power was out, or the structures that had these weather-related instruments weren't operating. It was crazy. And, I've flown through it. I've been on the ground. I covered the Malibu fires, every few years, every 5 years, they would get these devastating wildfires, Santa Ana-driven wildfires. And it was only a matter of time before Pacific Palisades suffered the very same fate. The weather was, right, and then, brush that hadn't burned in some cases 100 years, but much of it decades, that thick, oily chaparral brush, which is not native to the Santa Monica Mountains, by the way. It's a predatory plant that doesn't even belong there, blows up. You heat it enough, you expose it to fire, it gets hot enough, it's going to explode. Those oils are going to burn. And it did. And when it started burning, when those winds started picking up, you saw sparks everywhere. And what a lot of people don't realize, and firefighters will tell you, is that each one of these burning embers, these sparks, can cause another spot fire in a tree or on a roof. And there were countless, in the millions and millions and millions of sparks, burning embers flying through the air. And with those intense winds, you weren't looking at vertical winds, it was going sideways, horizontally. Unbelievable, and how hot it was. So I made my way down Sunset Boulevard, and I just was afraid of what I was going to find. And you pray for the best, you pray for you're hopeful. And then once I got to Chautauqua and Sunset, my worst fears were realized. Everything was engulfed in flames. I want to say by just after midnight is when things really, really got bad. I mean, it had been bad all day, but it really got bad just after midnight. The winds started accelerating. We had gusts over 100 miles an hour in Pacific Palisades. lot of people believe that Rick Caruso had a private firefighting team on site and that they saved his properties. That's not true. It was the LA City Fire Department that was there. He didn't get, and his property did not get, special preference. It was mostly because of building codes. The fires that burned adjacent to the Caruso properties, the older properties burned, like the old Palisades skateboard shop. I was on with our office in San Francisco. I was speaking to Beth Youngblood over a two-way radio system, and she was telling me that the fire department had been reporting that there were no reports of fatalities. Well, all he had to do was look around and know that that wasn't true. They just hadn't been discovered yet. The Los Angeles City Fire Department, I have a lot of respect for the fire department. And I knew that they were going to get a lot of heat over this, that they were going to, really get beaten up. Because a lot of people feel that when you call the fire department, they're going to arrive and they're going to put the fire out. I mean, that's been their life experience up until that point. And what people do not realize, didn't really realize in the Palisades or Malibu or any of the other areas, is just how dangerous it is to put urban dwellings right up against, wildlands. When wildfires break out and homes burn, people want to point their fingers and blame someone. And that someone can be found by looking in a mirror. You are responsible for making sure your home is safe from wildfires, even from earthquakes. This is Pacific Palisades at 4:47 a.m. Wednesday. When fires burn through residential areas, they sometimes jump from house to house, Sometimes they leave homes completely unscathed. Not here, not in Pacific Palisades. The Huntington Palisades, where we're at right now, has been leveled. Just a handful of homes remain. The Alphabet Streets looks more like a field than a neighborhood. Street after street after street. Homes are gone. They burn right to the very foundation. This home in front of you only started burning an hour ago. And there you can see the flames have consumed most of it. I used to live on this street. Now, for the most part, nobody lives on this street. Or Alma Real. Or Embry. They're gone. The Village, brand new shopping area in the center of Pacific Palisades, heavily damaged by fire. The two markets, Gelson's and Safeway, are no more. I watched as their roofs collapsed, as the structures were fully engulfed in flames. I've been doing this 50 years. And I've never seen anything like this. Even with insurance, many will never be made whole. And then I just believe that not everybody got out of this. It moved so quickly. I heard report after report of people trapped in their homes asking for fire department assistance getting out. That assistance sometimes would take 45, 50 minutes. I heard another firefighter say, "We have no water supply in this neighborhood. There's no point being here." And they moved off to another neighborhood where there might be water. The Methodist Church, gone. The rectory, gone. The Palisades Playhouse, gone. Some buildings on Pacific Palisades High School, gone. The Archer School, gone. Private school here. Fire didn't play favorites. It burned churches. It burned schools. And in front of us, this was the rec area, the recreational center and library. It's gone. The American flag still flapping in the wind, gusting sometimes to 60, 70, even 80 miles an hour. A hurricane force wind, fanning flames like a flamethrower. Nothing could stop it. Not an army of firefighters, nothing. I raised a family here. This is what remains. This was a fire generator. And the truth is, it'll happen again. It will not stop until people respect Mother Nature and understand what it takes to live in these areas. And that's the message I hope to get across with this film. we're not prepared. We're not going to be prepared until we take these natural disasters seriously. I'm Zoe Tor. Thank you for watching.